Welcome to the channel. Today we'll be looking at some extinct animals that were brought back to life by science. Extinct animals brought back to life by science. Imagine walking through a forest one day and suddenly you see an animal that hasn't walked the earth for thousands of years. You might think you've stepped into a time warp, or maybe you're dreaming. Well, it turns out that this may soon become a reality as thanks to some mind-blowing advances in genetics. Scientists are now working to bring back some of the most incredible extinct animals. In this video, we'll be exploring 5 of the strangest extinct animals that scientists are trying to bring back to life. No, 5. The woolly mammoth. One of the most iconic Ice Age animals, the woolly mammoth, is a creature that has captured the imagination of humans for centuries. With its thick fur, large tusks, and even thicker layer of fat, it was perfectly adapted to survive in the freezing temperatures of the northern hemisphere. During the Pleistocene epoch, however, around 4,000 years ago, the woolly mammoth went extinct, likely due to a combination of factors such as climate change and human hunting. But despite being gone for so long, there are still traces of the woolly mammoths left behind. In fact, the Siberian permafrost contains so much frozen woolly mammoth DNA that scientists have been able to use it to study the creature's genetics and even clone some of its cells. And now a company called Colossal Biosciences is using this preserved DNA to try and bring the woolly mammoth back to life. By taking mammoth DNA and blending it with the DNA of the Asian elephant, which is the closest living relative of the mammoth, they hope to create a hybrid mammoth that could roam the Arctic once again. Although this may seem like science fiction, it's actually becoming more of a reality every day. George Church, a geneticist at Harvard Medical School who is leading the project, said that the goal is to have a baby mammoth-elephant hybrid within the next 5 years. So the question is, would you want to see a woolly mammoth brought back to life? And do you think it's possible? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Number 4, the gastric brooding frog. The gastric brooding frog is an extinct species of frog that lived in Australia. It was a small frog no larger than a few centimeters, and it lived in the wetter areas of the continent. One of the most remarkable things about this frog was its unusual method of reproduction. Unlike most frogs which lay their eggs in water, the gastric brooding frog swallowed its own eggs. Yes, you heard that right. Once the female frog had laid her eggs, the male frog would then pick them up in his mouth and carry them around until they were ready to hatch. But why did they do this? Well, it's thought that this behavior was an adaptation to help protect their eggs from predators. By keeping the eggs inside their stomachs, the frogs were able to keep them safe from any potential threats until they were ready to hatch. This unique way of reproducing helped the gastric brooding frog survive for many years. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough to save it from extinction. The frog was declared extinct in 1984, likely due to a combination of factors, including habitat loss and climate change. However, there is hope that this little frog could one day be brought back to life. Thanks to the efforts of scientists at the Lazarus Project, this unusual frog could soon be hopping around Australia once again. Number 3, the passenger pigeon. The passenger pigeon was once the most numerous bird in North America. At one point, there were billions of passenger pigeons flying around the continent, making up the largest flocks of birds ever seen. However, due to mass hunting and deforestation, their numbers dwindled rapidly, and by 1914, the passenger pigeon was completely extinct. Despite being gone for over a century, scientists are working hard to bring the passenger pigeon back to life. At Revive and Restore, a non-profit organization focused on bringing back extinct animals, scientists are using genetic engineering to recreate the passenger pigeon from scratch. They plan to do this by using the DNA of closely related pigeons and editing their genes to make them look and behave like passenger pigeons. If successful, flocks of passenger pigeons could one day return to the skies of North America and fill our skies once again. What do you think of this plan? Is it a good idea to bring back extinct animals, or should we let nature take its course? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Number 2, the Tasmanian tiger. The Tasmanian tiger, also known as the thylacine, was an odd-looking marsupial that kind of resembled a mix between a wolf and a kangaroo. It lived in Tasmania, Australia, and was one of the largest carnivorous marsupials ever. However, despite its fearsome appearance, the Tasmanian tiger was actually quite shy and gentle. Fortunately, it went extinct in the 1930s. largely due to human persecution. The last known thylacine died in a zoo in 1936, and since then there had been no confirmed sightings of the animal. However, Australian scientists are hoping to change that. Researchers at the University of Adelaide are working on bringing back the Tasmanian tiger using preserved DNA from museum specimens. By extracting the DNA from these specimens, the scientists hope to recreate the Tasmanian tiger and reintroduce it to the Australian wilderness. But there are a lot of ethical concerns surrounding this experiment. Some people believe that it's wrong to mess with nature, and that we shouldn't try to bring back extinct animals. Others believe that if the Tasmanian tiger can be brought back safely, it would be a great addition to the ecosystem and could help control populations of invasive species. Only time will tell whether the Tasmanian tiger will make a comeback, or if it's doomed to remain extinct. Number 1. The tarpon. The tarpon wild horse is an extinct subspecies of wild horse that once roamed the steppes of Europe. It was a stocky, sturdy animal with a thick mane and tail, and it was well adapted to survive in harsh climates. However, the tarpon was hunted to extinction in the 18th century, largely because it was seen as a threat to livestock. Today, the tarpon is considered one of the most iconic symbols of the European wilderness, and its extinction was a major loss for biodiversity. Fortunately, scientists may have found a way to bring it back. Instead of using cloning technology, scientists have taken a different approach. They have used selective breeding from domestic horses that share similar genes to the tarp and recreated something very close to the original animal. These modern tarpons now roam parts of Europe, and they look strikingly similar to their ancient ancestors. While this is not the same as bringing the animal back from the dead, it is a remarkable feat of science and conservation. And it shows us that we may one day be able to bring other extinct animals back to life. Thanks for watching. Do you think it's a good idea to bring back extinct animals? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you never miss out on our next amazing videos.